For World Report, I'm Dwight Smith.
And I'm Hallie Cottenham. You're listening to Ottawa Morning. Composer MAYA BADIAN could have given up when trauma and personal tragedy struck. Fortunately for music lovers, her muse prevailed. Jill Laforte will be in with that story. And the CBC's Michael Bardwash will be back with your reaction to unilingual public servants who are suing the government over its language requirements. They say it's ruining their careers and lives. We'll hear what you have to say. That is music by MAYA BADIAN. She's one of a dozen local composers with works on offer last night and again this evening in the New Music in New Places concert at Maxwell's Bistro. MAYA began her career in her native Romania and then started again at age 42 when she emigrated to Canada. Jill Laforte visited with MAYA BADIAN last week and brings us her story this morning. Good morning, Jill.
Hi, Hallie.
Tell me the kind of career MAYA had when she was in Romania.
Well, she had a good career. She was a very respected composer in her homeland. She wrote a lot of music. She got it performed. Of course, there weren't many women pursuing composing as a career there. But MAYA, has always had an unusual gift. Get this, Hallie. She told me that from her earliest age, she would hear music, like original music, in her mind whenever she saw something. Whether it was a leaf, flower, a sunset. And of course, she thought everybody was like this. And so she started to ask her parents, "What do you hear when you see?" And they'd say, "We don't hear anything." Well, so at age 5, she begged for piano lessons so that she could let some of this music out of her. And much later, she went to the Bucharest Conservatory to formally learn how to notate what she was hearing.
Now, that was back in Romania.
That's right.
What prompted her to want to leave Romania and come to Canada?
It was family. She was very close to her younger sister, and her sister had immigrated to Montreal, and she wanted to join her. So in the mid-'80s, MAYA applied to authorities in the Ceausescu regime to leave the country with her husband and her son.
Now, was it difficult to get out of the country at that time?
Well, you had to go through a lot of hoops. You had to apply, and when you applied, you essentially became an enemy of the state. So, one of her big concerns was to get her music out of the country ahead of her, which was very tough because of just all the bureaucracy, red tape you had to muddle through. And in the end, she had to leave dozens and dozens of her scores behind. And she wasn't overly worried about this at first because her plan was to leave her scores with a close friend and then reclaim them later, whenever it was that Romania might become a free society. But when MAYA made her request to her friend, she received an answer that she really wasn't expecting.
He told me that he is so scared to keep something from me because I am already a persona non grata leaving Romania. So if somebody will know or find out that I left him my scores, it might be dangerous for him and his family. So I understood him. But in this moment for me was such a shock from your best friend to have this reply. And what I did, I tore all my scores, all, and my husband told me, "Hey, calm down, you cannot do this. This is your music, your life, your hours and years of work." And I told him, "Leave me alone, I have to throw them in the garbage." And this is what I did. I throw all.
I don't understand. She destroyed her own compositions because...
Because she had nowhere to leave them. She thought she was going to leave them with her friend. He felt unable to take them. And you can imagine that the state of mind that she must have been in at that moment to destroy her life's work.
And you can hear that in her voice to this day.
To this day, I'm sure, to this day, it was a terrible thing to have done.
What of her music survived?
Well, her first priority had been to get the large-scale orchestral works out of the country. So they went to Montreal in advance of her, as well as some of the smaller works. It was the solo piano pieces, choral works, and chamber music, lots of them, that she destroyed. But one piece of chamber music that survived and got to Montreal was a trio that Maya wrote when she was just 17. And this was performed at last night's concert. Hallie, this is a dance. It's for string trio, as you can hear, and it's very energetic, very rhythmic. And what's interesting to me about this is the way she's worked with the instruments to create what sounds like a very complicated rhythmic structure, when in fact, when I looked at the parts, I was surprised to see how simple the writing for each particular instrument was. It just comes together in this wonderful way. This is very much music of her Romanian period. There's a real folk feel, reminiscent to me of Bartok's Romanian dances.
This was music written while she was in Romania. Did her music change, or did her career change when she came to Canada?
Well, her career, I have to say, got off to a bit of a rocky start when she got here, because just after her family got nicely settled in Montreal, her son Mircea, who was a virtuoso percussion player, he was diagnosed with liver cancer. And so Mircea died at age 21, if you can just imagine the horror of that. And this could have been a fatal blow to Maya's creativity. But before Mircea died, he extracted a promise from her.
I would like you to promise me that you will continue your life as a composer, and you have to promise me that you will remain the same as I knew you, a tonic for others, and strong and beautiful and charming, and this is what he asked me. Really, I have to thank him that he gave me the strength to be able to continue, because otherwise I don't know what I think I could go crazy.
A tonic for others. What a lovely phrase, a lovely way to put it, but an incredibly difficult hurdle that she must have had to get over nonetheless before she could continue.
Yeah, and the way she reacted to all of this, because of Mircea's urging, she then threw herself into her work. She did a doctorate degree at the University of Montreal, and she became a leading authority on Canadian music, which I think is fantastic. So she went around then championing several Canadian composers, but she also was, of course, writing her own works, and now these works were inspired by her new country. And, these include, for instance, an orchestral piece called Canadian Wilderness, based on a group of 7 paintings. In 1997, Maya moved to Ottawa and has since become, an important part of this musical community here. The Chamber Music Society has commissioned several pieces from her. Julian Armour often includes her works in concerts of Canadian music, and her piece last night, it was a big hit, I have to say.
How did it work out in the bar? That was kind of an unusual venue, as we've been discussing.
Yeah, something, it was great. Maxwell's was just packed, in a way you would expect to be in a bar with people sitting, some at tables, people standing. Every available space was used. Everyone had drinks in their hand. Now, there was a real buzz in the room, and lots of conversation after every piece, and that's what you maybe don't get in a regular, formal concert hall setting. There was a huge variety. There were 3 sets, and it was one of those concerts that if you didn't like something, you just had to wait 5 minutes, and there would be something you would like. So it's being repeated tonight at Maxwell's, 8 o'clock start, but you've got to get there early if you want a table.
What an incredible story of overcoming serious problems back home in Romania, and as well the illness of her son.
Absolutely, and I've been really, really touched by Maya.